My sister enables her kids' criminal behavior. Now they're ruining the neighborhood and the neighborhood's calm was broken by the siren's piercing cries, which reverberated off the walls like a melancholic song. My heart fell as I looked out my window and saw dazzling lights piercing the night. Our formerly tranquil town has already seen mayhem as a result of my sister's carelessness. I can never get over how much my sister Emma loved her two children, Sam and Lily. However, her indulgence had gone too far in encouraging their harmful actions. They had been allowed to act recklessly since they were small, and their misbehavior had been written off as typical kid behavior. Their pranks got more outrageous as they got older. Little thefts developed into vandalism, and before long the area was their playground, but not in a good way. Emma chose to ignore her children's destruction and turned a blind eye. She dismissed my worries, saying I didn't get the relationship between a mother and her children, despite my attempts to reason with her and make her see the ramifications of her actions. However, the relationship she treasured was destroying our neighborhood. The once active streets were now empty and beset by mistrust and terror. Afraid to face the mayhem gathering next door, neighbors murmured behind closed doors. The once vibrant neighborhood has the feel of a ghost town following the fire. Rusted ruins of structures serve as somber memories of the devastation that had occurred. The flames that had destroyed their homes had left families gathered together, their feeling of security broken. Emma and I stood in the middle of the debris, a wordless communication between us. She bore a great deal of guilt for her carelessness, just as I did for keeping quiet for so long. We both felt a wave of resolve as we looked about at the destruction. While we were unable to alter the past, we might try to heal the past and reconstruct what had been destroyed. We teamed together with our neighbors and dug in to help remove debris and provide assistance to those in need. Though it was little, it was a start. We started to heal our community's emotional wounds in addition to its physical ones with every brick put and nail driven. The fire's wounds gradually started to disappear as the days stretched into weeks. Amidst the ashes, new life sprang, demonstrating the human spirit's tenacity. Once separated by mistrust and terror, neighbors were now brought together by a common goal. Emma had a difficult and protracted road to atonement. From others who had been directly impacted by her children's behavior, she received criticism and condemnation. Still, she didn't waver. She was determined to put things right. She started to regain the trust she had previously lost with each apology spoken and every promise fulfilled. For Sam and Lily, it was a difficult road to salvation. They were made to face the truth of the suffering they had created and the legal repercussions for their actions. But there were hints of optimism among the shadows. They started to return to the light through community service and therapy. Ultimately, the fire that had threatened to destroy us turned into the driving force behind our rebirth. More together and stronger than ever, we rose from the ashes. Even if our history would never truly heal, the wounds we carried around with us were a constant reminder of the strength of forgiveness and the resiliency of the human spirit. The situation came to a breaking point one fatal night. At the fringe of the neighborhood, an abandoned warehouse caught fire, sending flames licking the sky in a brilliant inferno. Families raced to escape as the advancing flames threatened their houses, causing panic to spread like wildfire. I saw Sam and Lily in the middle of the mayhem, their faces contorted with maniacal delight as they saw the devastation taking place. My heart thumped with desperation and rage. How could my sister watch helplessly as her kids tore apart our world? I went up to Emma as the firemen were fighting the flames and the locals were trying to put their broken lives back together. She had long disregarded the truth, and now tears filled her eyes. Her children were the architects of their own demise. They were not helpless victims. Following the fire, the community came together with the goal of restoring what had been destroyed. However, Emma's carelessness left deep wounds that lingered and left a bad flavor in the air. For Sam and Lily, the terror they had been experiencing was over. When the reality of what they had done finally set in, they were no longer protected by their mother's misplaced love and had to deal with the fallout from their misdeeds. However, it would take a lot longer for Emma and myself for our wounds to heal. We wondered if there was any hope for restoration after such destruction, as the ties of family became stretched due to treachery and sorrow. The once vibrant neighborhood appeared to be shrouded in darkness following the fire. The burned-out remains of the warehouse were a somber reminder of the destruction caused by my sister's carelessness and her kids' unbridled conduct. The community tried to mend, but trust was still broken. Families cautiously observed one another, speculating about the possibility of the impending catastrophe. Compared to the close-knit community that had characterized our area, it was a stark difference. For Emma's part, the consequences of her deeds bore down on her shoulders like a leaden weight. Her previously rebellious pride in her kids' mischief had vanished, leaving behind a menacing sense of regret. She withdrew into herself, unable to accept the hard truth of her shortcomings as a mother. I was divided between empathy and rage as I watched her struggle from a distance, rage at her ignorance and her unwillingness to admit the evil she had enabled to proliferate. Feel sorry for the mother who was so consumed by the mayhem that she had forgotten about her own kids. But there was a gleam of optimism among the ruins. Emma felt herself filled with a renewed purpose to right the wrongs her family had created. In order to face the demons that had long tormented her and her kids, she sought out counseling. She started gradually but steadily mending the shattered ties of trust in our neighborhood. She gave up her time to help people in need by volunteering at neighborhood charities. Most significantly, she stopped being ready to ignore her kids' wrongdoings and made them answerable for their acts. I saw our neighborhood's healing with cautious optimism as the days grew into weeks and the weeks into months. Even while the scars from the past may never completely heal, a new resilience that was created through hardship has grown in its stead. And although while the wounds from our common experience would never completely heal, they were a sobering reminder of the value of compassion and responsibility. Because what really characterizes us in the worst of circumstances is our capacity to unite as a community. Months went by, and every day the neighborhood began to take on a hint of its previous life. The sound of children playing filled the formerly empty streets, and the sense of cohesion that had been lost in the pandemonium started to reappear. Emma also experienced a change. The dejected lady I had known was no longer there. In her place came a strong will to make up for past wrongs. She gave her everything to her children's recovery, setting them on the road to atonement. Once the bane of the community, Sam and Lily started to express regret for what they had done. They participated in community service programs, hoping to make up for the harm they had caused, with Emma's unflinching supervision. Though it was a protracted and difficult road, they got closer to atonement with each little step they took. In my case, I took comfort in our community's newly discovered togetherness. Even if the wounds from the past are still there, they serve as a constant reminder of our forgiveness and humanity. Ultimately, our relationship's strength got us through our worst moments. As a team, we had persevered through the storm and come out stronger on the other side, demonstrating the strength of kindness and fortitude in the face of difficulty. A sense of hope for the future also came over me as I gazed out over the regenerated neighborhood. After all, our capacity to overcome adversity and come together in the search of a brighter tomorrow ultimately determined who we were, not the difficulties we encountered. Previously again, our previously troublesome streets seemed to be returning to normal, and the sun shed a nice glow over the area. Emma's community came together to support and encourage her on her redemption path, realizing that her efforts had not gone forgotten. Sam and Lily started to change more and more as the days grew into weeks and the weeks into months. They took their newfound role seriously and accepted it, no longer the rebellious troublemakers they previously were. In an effort to repair the harm they had created, they joined in neighborhood cleanup events and worked at nearby charities, lending a hand to people who were less fortunate than themselves. For them, it served as a sobering reminder of how their actions affected others around them. The biggest shift, though, could have come from Emma herself. She became a ray of hope for our community after being set free from the bonds of self-deception and denial. She encouraged others to face their own demons and ask for forgiveness for their previous transgressions. We created a new route together that is characterized by empathy, understanding, and a mutual will to create a better future for present and future generations. And I couldn't help but be proud of how far we had come as I gazed out over the resurgent neighborhood. We had overcome all of our difficulties and come out stronger and more resilient than before. Ultimately, our identity was not determined by our errors. Rather, it was determined by our decisions to develop and learn from them. And that insight offered us all hope. Hope for a brighter future based on the lasting strength of community, forgiveness, and redemption. Emma's road to atonement carried on as the neighborhood flourished and the seasons changed. She developed into a tower of strength and support for others in her immediate vicinity, giving advice and kindness to those in need. Her metamorphosis motivated others to face their own struggles and work toward personal development. We came together as a close-knit group united by our common goal of moving ahead and our common experiences. Under Emma's tutelage, Sam and Lily thrived, their prior transgressions vanishing from memory as they embraced their brand new sense of purpose. They developed into community role models, demonstrating to the younger generation that change was achievable despite seemingly insurmountable challenges. But a feeling of caution persisted amid the advancement and fresh optimism. Though they had diminished, the scars from the past had not completely vanished. We were aware that the path ahead would be difficult, but we overcame them as a team, determined to build a brighter future. And I couldn't help but feel appreciative of the adventure we had taken as I peered out over the transformed neighborhood. We had become stronger in the face of hardship. In the midst of hopelessness, we had found it, and we had found atonement in the embrace of community. After all, our ability to overcome our mistakes was what ultimately made us who we are. And with that revelation came a revitalized sense of purpose and a mutual dedication to creating a more promising future. Ultimately, Emma, Sam, and Lily's story is a moving reminder of the strength of atonement and the resiliency of the human spirit. We have seen firsthand the transforming power of community, forgiveness, and compassion through their path. Despite many obstacles and disappointments along the way, they persisted and came out stronger and closer than before. Together, they transformed the destructive wave into a ray of hope, encouraging everyone in their path to face their own fears and pursue personal development. We are reminded that nothing is impossible when faced with courage and commitment as the sun sets on the transformed neighborhood. Even if the wounds from the past still exist, they are evidence of our ability to change and evolve. Thus, let us use the lessons discovered during Emma, Sam, and Lily's trip as we go forward. Embracing the strength of forgiveness, the solidarity of our community, and the hope for a better tomorrow, let us know that we can conquer any obstacle in our path as a team.